What happens when Elon Musk, the tech billionaire with a skeptical view of religion, meets Pope Francis, the spiritual leader of over 1 billion Catholics? This wasn't just a casual conversation. It was a philosophical duel, a clash of ideas about the very existence of God and the role of religion in today's world. The stage was set during an exclusive meeting that brought together some of the brightest minds and influential figures. Elon Musk, known for his bold statements and innovative vision, came prepared to challenge age-old belief. On the other side, Pope Francis, with his calm demeanor and decades of spiritual leadership, stood ready to defend his faith. This wasn't just a polite exchange of ideas. It was a debate that would leave everyone in the room questioning their own belief. Right from the start, Musk got straight to the point. He asked a question that most people shy away from. Why do we need God in the modern world? He continued, we've built rockets that can travel to Mars, developed AI that can think faster than any human, and decoded the mysteries of DNA. Isn't humanity capable of solving its own problems without relying on an invisible higher power? The room went silent. All eyes turned to Pope Francis, who took a moment before responding. His answer was simple yet profound. Humanity may have achieved great things, but it is still imperfect. Technology can build cities, but it cannot fill the emptiness in a person's heart. That is where God comes in. But Musk wasn't convinced. He fired back. If God exists, why is the world so full of suffering? Why do millions starve while a few live in luxury? If God is all-powerful and loving, shouldn't he intervene to make things right? Pope Francis, unfazed, responded with a calm yet firm voice. Suffering is not a sign of God's absence. It is a reminder of human free will. God created us with the freedom to choose our actions, and sadly, humanity often chooses selfishness over compassion. The question is not why God allows suffering but why we, as humans, allow it to continue. This answer seemed to catch Musk off guard. He paused, as if reflecting on the Pope's words, but it didn't take long for him to come back with another argument. If free will is so important, why did God create rules and commandments? Isn't religion just a way to control people? The tension in the room was growing. Everyone could feel the intensity of the debate, and it was clear that neither side was backing down. Elon Musk is no stranger to challenging long-standing institutions. Whether it's governments, car manufacturers, or even space agencies, he has built his career on questioning the status quo. Religion, for him, was no exception. Musk has always been vocal about his agnostic views. He doesn't outright deny the existence of God, but he often questions traditional religious belief. To him, the universe is governed by the laws of physics, not by a divine being. He believes in evidence, experiments, and logic, not faith. During the debate, Musk laid out his argument in his usual direct style. Religion is based on ancient stories written thousands of years ago. These stories were created by people who didn't have the tools to understand the world scientifically. Today we know better. We can explain the origins of the universe through the Big Bang Theory and evolution. We don't need God to fill the gaps in our understanding anymore. Pope Francis, however, saw things differently. Science and faith are not enemies, he said. They are two sides of the same coin. Science explains how the universe works, but faith answers why it exists. Without purpose, even the greatest scientific achievements are hollow. But Musk wasn't satisfied with this answer. He pressed further. If faith gives us purpose, then why do religious institutions often stand in the way of progress? For centuries, the Church opposed scientific discoveries like Galileo's heliocentric theory. Even today, some religious groups reject evolution and climate science. Isn't that proof that religion hinders progress rather than helping it? The Pope didn't deny the mistakes of the past. Yes, the Church has made errors, he admitted. But we've also learned and grown. Today, the Vatican supports scientific research and embraces discoveries like the Big Bang and evolution. Science and faith can work together to reveal the wonders of God's creation. The most emotional part of the conversation revolved around the problem of suffering. Musk brought up one of the most common arguments against the existence of a loving God, the existence of evil and suffering in the world. How can you believe in an all-powerful God when children are dying of hunger, when innocent people are killed in wars, and when natural disasters destroy entire communities? If God loves us, why does he let these things happen? Musk asked, his voice filled with genuine curiosity. Pope Francis didn't hesitate. Suffering is a mystery that even the most faithful struggle to understand, he said. But it is not God who causes suffering, it is humanity. Wars are started by people, not by God. Poverty is the result of greed, not divine will. And while natural disasters are beyond our control, they remind us of our responsibility to care for the planet and for each other. Musk, however, wasn't convinced. If God is all-powerful, couldn't he stop these things from happening? Couldn't he create a world without suffering? The Pope's response was profound. A world without suffering would also be a world without free will. God didn't create us to be puppets. He gave us the ability to choose, even if that means choosing wrong. But in our darkest moments, God is there to offer hope and strength. It is up to us to rise above our circumstances and create a better world. As the discussion continued, Elon Musk shifted the focus to morality, a subject he had clearly thought about deeply. For Musk, morality didn't require the existence of God or religion. You don't need to believe in God to know the difference between right and wrong, he argued. Morality comes from understanding the consequences of our actions, from empathy, and from working together as a society. Why rely on religious rules when we can create ethical systems based on reason and compassion? Pope Francis listened carefully, nodding slightly before responding. You are right that empathy and reason are essential for morality. But without a higher power, morality becomes subjective. What is right for one person may be wrong for another. Faith provides a universal framework, a shared set of values that transcends cultures and eras. Musk wasn't letting that slide. But religion has often been used to justify terrible things: wars, persecution, slavery. If morality comes from religion, how do you explain those actions? His tone was challenging, but his question was valid, and everyone in the room seemed to lean forward, eager for the Pope's response. Francis took a deep breath. Human beings are flawed, and they often misuse religion for their own agendas. But the faults of humanity do not invalidate the principles of faith. At its core, religion teaches love, compassion, and justice. Those who use it to justify harm are twisting its true meaning. Musk nodded slightly, acknowledging the Pope's point but still unconvinced. He continued, even if religion teaches love and compassion, why do we need it? Can't we achieve the same values through education and shared understanding? Wouldn't a world without religious divisions be more peaceful? The Pope smiled, his voice steady. A world without religion might seem peaceful in theory, but peace comes from the heart, not the absence of belief. Religion, at its best, inspires people to strive for something greater than themselves. It gives people hope, even in the face of adversity. Without it, humanity risks losing the deeper meaning of life. Musk leaned back in his chair, clearly deep in thought. The room felt electric, as if everyone was waiting for what would come next. The conversation took a more philosophical turn as the two men began discussing the meaning of life. Musk, a man of science and innovation, believes that purpose comes from creating, exploring, and solving problems. For me, the meaning of life is about progress, about pushing humanity forward, reaching for the stars, and ensuring that we survive as a species. Why do we need religion to tell us our purpose? Pope Francis responded gently. Progress is important, but it is not the same as purpose. You can build the most advanced technology, but if it doesn't serve the greater good, it becomes empty. Faith reminds us that life is not just about achieving goals, it's about how we treat each other, about love and connection. These are things that science cannot fully explain. Musk wasn't entirely convinced. But what if there is no divine purpose? What if we create our own meaning? Isn't that enough? Francis replied, creating your own meaning is admirable, but it can also be fragile. When life becomes difficult, when progress is halted, people often feel lost. Faith provides a foundation, a sense of purpose that doesn't crumble in the face of hardship. It is not just about what we achieve but about who we become in the process. Musk nodded, but his expression suggested he was still pondering the Pope's words. The debate was becoming more than just an exchange of ideas. It was a deep exploration of what it means to be human. As the discussion neared its end, the focus shifted to the future. Musk, ever the futurist, expressed his vision of humanity spreading across the stars, colonizing planets, and harnessing the power of artificial intelligence. In the future I envision, religion won't play a major role. People will rely on science and technology to solve their problems. Faith might even become obsolete. The Pope, however, disagreed. Faith will never be obsolete because it speaks to something eternal within us. Even as technology advances, people will continue to seek answers to life's biggest questions. Why are we here? What is our purpose? Where do we go after death? Science can provide many answers, but it cannot satisfy the soul. Musk responded, but isn't it better to focus on what we can see and measure, rather than what we can't prove? Shouldn't we prioritize solving the problems we know exist, like poverty, climate change, and disease, instead of focusing on an afterlife that might not even exist? Francis replied with a quiet conviction, faith does not distract us from solving problems, it inspires us to solve them. The teachings of Jesus are about serving others, caring for the poor, and protecting the earth. Faith and action go hand in hand. One without the other is incomplete. The room was silent for a moment, as both men's words hung in the air. It was clear that while they didn't agree on everything, they both shared a commitment to making the world a better place. By the end of the conversation, it was clear that Musk and Pope Francis had very different perspectives, but their exchange was not about winning or losing. Instead, it was a dialogue that forced everyone listening to think deeply about their own belief. Musk had challenged the Pope with tough questions about suffering, morality, and the role of religion, while Francis had responded with wisdom, compassion, and a perspective grounded in centuries of faith. The two men may not have changed each other's minds, but they had sparked a conversation that would continue long after the meeting ended. For the audience, the debate between Elon Musk and Pope Francis was more than just an intellectual exercise. It was a reminder that questions about God, purpose, and morality are as relevant today as they were thousands of years ago. And while science and religion often seem like opposing forces, perhaps they are simply two ways of seeking the same truth. This was not the end of the conversation, far from it. It was the beginning of a new way of thinking, one that challenges us all to look beyond our own beliefs and explore the bigger picture. The conversation between Elon Musk and Pope Francis didn't just end at surface-level disagreements, it dug deeper into how faith and reason could coexist. Musk, known for his pragmatic approach, challenged the very concept of faith as an essential element of human progress. Faith feels like a placeholder, Musk argued. When people don't have the answers, they say, God did it. But we're at a point where science is giving us those answers. Why hold on to something that isn't necessary anymore? Pope Francis, with his characteristic calmness, smiled and said, faith isn't about filling gaps in our knowledge. It's about finding meaning beyond what we can measure. Science can tell us how life works, but it can't tell us why life is worth living. That is the role of faith. The debate didn't stop there. Musk leaned forward, his tone sharpening. But don't you think faith limits us? People use religion to justify ignoring critical advancement. Climate change, vaccines, stem cell research, there are groups that outright reject these because of their faith. Isn't that proof that faith can hold humanity back? Francis acknowledged the point with a slow nod. You are correct that some misuse faith to resist progress. But that is not true faith, that is fear disguised as faith. True faith embraces truth, even if it comes from science. Look at the church today. We support climate action because caring for the planet is part of our moral duty. Faith and science can work together, but it requires openness and humility from both sides. This seemed to resonate with Musk, though he wasn't entirely convinced. But how do you balance that? How do you stop faith from being a barrier instead of a bridge? Francis's response was simple but powerful. By keeping the focus on love and service. Faith that does not lead to love and action is empty. And science that does not consider the human soul can be dangerous. Both need each other to truly thrive. As the discussion continued, Pope Francis steered the conversation toward a topic he believed was central to faith: hope. In today's world, so many people feel lost. They see war, poverty, and division and lose hope for a better future. Faith offers that hope. It reminds people that they are not alone, that their lives have meaning, even in the darkest times. Musk raised an eyebrow, skeptical. But isn't that false hope? Isn't it better to focus on real solutions rather than relying on something intangible like faith? Francis answered with conviction. Hope is never false when it inspires action. When a person believes that their life has value, they are more likely to contribute to the world. Faith gives people the strength to fight for justice, to care for the vulnerable, and to persevere when challenges arise. Without hope, even the best solutions fail to take root. Musk paused, considering the Pope's words. But doesn't hope sometimes lead to passivity? Some people think God will take care of it, and then they don't act. How do you avoid that? The Pope responded, true hope is active, not passive. It does not say, God will take care of it. It says, with God's help, I will take care of it. Faith calls us to action, to work for a better world. It is not an escape from responsibility but a call to embrace it. Musk seemed intrigued but still cautious. It sounds good in theory, but I'm not sure it works in practice. What happens when faith leads to conflict instead of unity? Isn't that a risk we can't afford? Francis replied with a gentle but firm tone, that is why faith must always be grounded in love. Love is the true essence of faith. When faith is rooted in love, it unites rather than divide. It serves rather than controls, and it inspires rather than discourages. As the conversation reached its conclusion, it was clear that Elon Musk and Pope Francis would likely never fully agree on everything. Musk remained firm in his belief in science and reason as the ultimate tools for progress, while Francis stood by his conviction that faith and love were the foundations of a meaningful life. But despite their differences, there was a sense of mutual respect between them. Musk acknowledged the value of the Pope's perspective, even if he didn't share it. I still think the world can progress without religion, Musk said, but I can see why faith gives people hope. Maybe it's not as unnecessary as I thought. Francis, too, showed respect for Musk's views. Your vision for humanity is inspiring, he said. You challenge us to think bigger, to push the boundaries of what is possible. Faith should do the same. It should inspire us to dream of a better world and to work tirelessly to make it a reality. The room erupted into applause as the two men shook hands, signaling the end of their discussion. Though they had not reached a consensus, their debate had shown that dialogue between opposing views was not only possible but necessary. The debate between Elon Musk and Pope Francis was not just about the clash of ideas but the beginning of a new era of dialogue between technology and faith. In a world where technology and science have made incredible strides, many have wondered whether religion still has a place in our rapidly evolving society. Musk, with his ambition to push humanity forward with space exploration and AI, believes that the future lies in human innovation. He argues that religion is an outdated concept that holds people back from reaching their true potential. However, Pope Francis' calm, patient demeanor reminded the world that faith has been a guiding force for humanity for thousands of years. For him, faith is not a relic of the past but a living, breathing part of our existence. It provides purpose and meaning, reminding us that we are more than just the sum of our achievements or technological advancements. Despite their differing viewpoints, both Musk and Pope Francis emphasize the importance of asking the right questions. Musk's curiosity about the universe and his relentless pursuit of knowledge have shaped him into a visionary. Meanwhile, the Pope's faith in humanity and the message of love that he shares with the world demonstrate the power of hope and belief. In many ways, the conversation between Musk and Francis highlighted the importance of a balance between progress and purpose. Musk's belief that technology can solve the world's problems is grounded in optimism, while Pope Francis' faith in humanity is rooted in the understanding that the greatest human achievements come not from power or material wealth, but from love, compassion, and the shared desire for a better world. This moment wasn't just a debate between two influential figures, it was a challenge to all of us. It asked us to reflect on our own beliefs, our own purpose, and the way we see the world. As we advance in technology and science, will we remember to look within ourselves and understand what truly matters? The meeting of minds between Elon Musk and Pope Francis was a moment of truth, a reminder that humanity must not only ask questions of the universe but also ask questions of ourselves. The lasting impact of this dialogue is that it encourages open discussion and reflection. Whether you are a believer, a skeptic, or someone caught in between, the clash of ideas between faith and reason is something that will continue to shape how we see the future. The debate between Musk and Francis was only the beginning, sparking many more conversations that will bring us closer to understanding the balance between technology, faith, and human potential.